What is up, everyone? We are here on Cardinals Aftermath. I am Joseph, a.k.a. TCR, a.k.a. The Professor. And as always, I'm joined by Mike, a.k.a. AZ Sports Fan. Are there any other a.k.a.s people ought to know about for you?
Guy with hair.
Yes. Nice. I like it. Okay. And guy with a baby that's having a rough night.
Yes, sir. Yes,
sir. Mike being a good dad, helping out with a screaming baby. Been there, done that. That's why we're running a few minutes late. I'm sure everyone understands, but it's good to be here on a Victory Monday again, even if it does involve screaming kids.
Right, exactly.
So aside from the stress of a screaming baby, how are you, Mike?
I'm good, man. Other than that, obviously, celebrating a Victory Monday is always wonderful, especially after that Panthers loss, man. It's a good feeling to finally be back on the W and having our bye week. Good feeling.
Yes. In my my reaction or response video, I kind of let it off with, I don't know who needed this win more, the team or the fans, right? I mean, because that was a rough loss, but it still, to me, wasn't a bad loss as far as NFL standards go. To me, a bad loss is when you've got your starting quarterback and injuries aren't an issue and you lose to the Jets, right? If you lose Carolina with your best receiver and with Kyler Murray out, that's to be expected, right?
True.
So, but, we went in and won at Seattle in a game that a lot of people picked the Cardinals to lose, not surprisingly, right? So it's a good feeling. I'm going to just say hey to the folks that are in the chat. Obviously, as always, we have the legend, Lennon Wolf, the AZ Sports Fan. We have Bass Strangler here with us. We have Big Play Slay. Thanks for being here. Mark Jackson, who is always reliable here. Happy Victory Monday. And folks filing in. So thanks to everyone for being here. So let's jump right into it with our segment that we always go to, our studs and duds. And Mike, as always, give us the first stud from the game.
Absolutely. Yes. I definitely got to go ahead and give it over to my guy, Colt McCoy, man. It's so crazy because I've been talking, this whole time saying Colt McCoy doesn't need to be, the best quarterback out there, but man, he was making plays out there. So I got to give a shout out to him. He's my first stud of the week, 35 out of 44, over 300 yards, 2 touchdowns, almost an interception, but we're not counting that, just 2 touchdowns.
And that interception, that, it wasn't a good throw. He got lucky that it got overturned and that the defender didn't hold on to it. But like in the end, if the Cardinals had still won the game and you told me he had 300 and something yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception for a backup quarterback, that's still a good game.
Yeah.
And after last week, fans were down on Goat McCoy. But like I stepped back and took a big picture, and I kind of didn't, I know some people are like, oh, he sucks, why do we bring him in? But I was looking like, what? Backup quarterbacks are going to be inconsistent. If they were more consistent, they'd be starters. And when you step back and take the big picture look at it, in the 3-game stretch, we went 2-1, right? With Colt McCoy, Goat McCoy starting. And if you get that out of a backup quarterback, that's a good outcome, right? So, I'm with you on that. So for me, I'm going to go ahead and stay kind of with the game plan and the offense side. I'm going to go with Cliff Kingsbury. I didn't like the game plan last week, and in particular, the fact that they were passing on early downs, which put them in tough situations. They got 3 early turnovers. And that just created a downhill situation from there. But they started running the ball more, and they were doing short passes, and they weren't, later in the game, they started getting a little bit back to that passing on first down and getting into second and longs, but they were already ahead at that point. So I think Kingsbury did a good job coming in with a better game plan this time around, particularly in terms of running early.
Right. 100% agree, man. I think he did a very, very good job.
Yeah. So who's your next stud?
I got to go with somebody who've had a lot of flack given over to him, especially because he hasn't turned around when the ball gets thrown over to him. I got to go with my guy, AJ Green, man. 4 receptions, 78 yards. And it's not so much the stats, but the type of catches that he was making on the field, man. Almost like he was jumping up the tippy toes and catching those balls. So shout out to him, man. And he had a very, very good game, and he converted like I think it was like a second and long or third and long when we needed it. So shout out to him, man.
He's been doing that all year, those kind of jump ball 50-50 balls, and he did a really good job. In the Discord, there's a group of us that just kind of hang out during the game, and someone commented when he caught that, it's amazing what he can do when he turns around. It's like, oh, that's rough. But, he's made those kinds of plays for the Cardinals all year, so that was a great one for sure. I'm going to go with another guy who caught some balls, caught 2 touchdowns, in fact, Zach Ertz, right? He had a great game, those two touchdowns. He's integrated into the offense, and with Hopkins out, as JP's pointing out. Also, Colt didn't have Hopkins, but Zach Ertz has been such a great pickup, and he definitely deserves a vote for stud.
I agree, man. Ertz is like probably one of his best games as a Cardinal. He was off, bro. I think I still remember the first touchdown he did. It's so funny because when he was like celebrating with the fans, he spiked the ball so hard that one of the fans were just like so scared. It just made me laugh. I don't know why. It was just like, I love the passion that he had with it. And yeah, definitely a stud for sure, man. Zach Ertz had an amazing game.
Yeah, and so who is your third stud of this game?
I got to go with Chandler Jones. I got to go on the defensive side of the ball. I think Chandler Jones had a really, really good game. I think he put a tweet out something like he was using the same cleats or like using a lot of the same stuff that he did last year. And he always has really, really good games when it comes up to us playing in Seattle, whether it's CenturyLink or Lumen Field. So hopefully this is his, game that's going to take the rust off, and hopefully we can start getting those sacks coming.
It was nice to see him get back into the swing of things, getting multiple sacks. And, not only did he play well in terms of the pass rush, he actually played well against the run, which is actually kind of a weakness for him. He's not he grades very poorly against the run, but he actually did really well, had a good tackle for loss, and really had a great game. So that's a great call. I'm going to go with, there's a couple guys I could go with for my last stud. I'm going to go with Isaiah Simmons. He was all over the place, had a lot of tackles, but got that sack and had a tackle for loss, and got to give him some credit on getting a sack. As a guy who's not a pass rusher by trade. So I'm going to go with Simmons. I think it was nice to see him active and filling up the box score a little bit.
Yeah, I agree. And whenever we have a first rounder produce, I mean, I'm all excited for it, man. So good job.
100%. Let me just say hey to some of the other folks that are in here that have joined the stream since I did my first shout outs. Obviously, Gary Shaw, thank you for being here. Appreciate you. What caused Chris Trevor gone now? What caused him to be gone is I think he didn't look good. He hasn't looked good. And they actually went with and picked up Trace McSorley, which off the Ravens practice squad. I actually did a quick video on that. So if anyone wants to find out what we got in Trace McSorley. But yeah, they cut him and brought in someone who I personally think is a better option. World Peace, shout out, Professor. Hey, shout out to you, World Peace. Thanks for being here, man. We have the Carolina Crown, Zona, Bird Gang, Rise Up Red Sea, 100%. Thanks for being here. Gary, Victory Monday, let's go. Thank you for being here. Yes, Victory Monday is always a good Monday. Obviously, we got JP. Cliff did call a good game. I agree. Evan Keel, thank you for being here. It was a good spike, talking about the spike that you're talking about. David Renteria. So have you seen the Trey song? David commented. So I'm too old for TikTok, but he's a TikTok star, I guess, right? In fact, I did look that up, and I did see I looked it on YouTube because I'm too old for TikTok, but there is a Trace McSorley song, and I saw it. It's bad, and it's wonderful in how awful it is. So you have to check that out when you get a minute. But 3-0 Colt in Seattle. 100. Colt is 3-0 in Seattle. Paul Orbit, thank you for being here. The fact that Chandler Jones is top 10 sacks, Lumen, is crazy to me. Yeah,
really crazy.
And they also showed during the game another set that the Cardinals have more wins there than any other visiting team, right? So which and the Cardinals haven't had success there, so that's not shocking, right?
Right.
I'll let you comment on this. Pete Carroll may be gone after this year. What do you think about that, Mike?
Oh yeah, no, definitely. I think I host a roundtable every Tuesday. And I've always kind of grilled the the Seahawks guy to kind of let him know, hey man, if it comes down to Russ or Pete Carroll, I mean, obviously he said it's an easy choice. Carroll's got to go, and obviously the way that this has turned upside down, in this season, it wasn't the 3-7. They're very positive when they're talking in the press conference, because why not, right? I mean, that's exactly what they should be doing, being positive and saying, oh, we can turn this around. But man, they're cooked, man. They're absolutely cooked. I definitely think Pete Carroll's gone. A lot of people blame him, honestly.
Yeah, it's tough because Pete Carroll's been there for so long, had so much success, and he's not a guy that you just like. It's hard to see them firing him. But I could see a situation, he's one of the oldest coaches in the NFL, which I know is kind of sneakily old because he has such a young spirit about him.
Right.
But, I could see a situation where maybe they have a meeting like, listen, we don't want to fire you, but we want to turn the page, and maybe he retires or steps away kind of gracefully.
Yeah.
But I objectively speaking, I think they need a rebuild. And as much as people are saying, that Russ needs to move on, I think they're better off rebuilding with Russ. He's still, as quarterbacks go, he's young enough to contend with still, and he's still a great quarterback.
Yeah.
But they need to turn the page in one 100%. Way or the other. What's your prediction? I think this is a good question. What's your prediction now for the Cardinals record? Now with where the team's at?
It's a good question, man. I don't know. Kind of want to get after the bye week before, but I mean, obviously, if I want to be optimistic, I'm gonna say 15-2. But right. I mean, obviously, there's gonna be a loss somewhere in there. So if I want to just play it safe, maybe 14-3. Because I do know, like, if we do become the number 1 seed and we have some cushion, we might sit some starters out when it comes down to the last game and see versus Seattle.
I agree. I mean, I'm torn between 13 and 14 wins with this team. Because I think if they play straight up and try to win every game, I think they have a good chance of getting that 14 wins. But they're not going to run the table 17-0 anymore, right? That's off the table. If they get the number 1 seed locked up and they've got a buffer, I could see them resting players. So I'll probably lean towards 13-4 for that reason. So just want to. So when I don't know if you saw this, I know you were really busy. I tweeted, as I often do, that I'm going to be talking Arizona Cardinals football and I always tag you in the tweet. And I accidentally, when I put up AZ Cardinals, Kyler Birds always comes up. So my first tweet was, I'm going to be talking.
Nice.
So in a very humorous way, he responded, "I'm honored that you're going to be devoting a whole show to me, Joseph." And
nice.
So Kyler, thanks for being here. But I had to mention you because of that. But so Trace McSorley, I think, is an upgrade over Chris Streveler. I like him as a potential guy to develop into a long-term backup. But let's get back to, we went over our studs, and I do think there, are some duds worth mentioning here. So obviously, Mike, I'll let you kind of take the first one.
For my first, or I guess my only dud, I got to give it over to Prater, man, Matt Prater. I love the guy. Love the guy at all. And I know a lot of people and I'm very active when it comes to Twitter, like just because I'm super emotional when it comes out. So I'm always like, what's going on here? But somebody said that he had a kid recently, which is cool. I mean, I have a kid, and my mind kind of wanders sometimes off too. So if that's the case, cool, no worries. I'm not worried about him though. Honestly, I think he's going to be good in the next few games, or for the rest of the season. He just had an off game, but I have to give him the stud award just because he had an off game. Oh, the dud. I'm sorry. Dud.
I was gonna say, but you beat me to the punch. Like, Mike, I thought you'd be more understanding with the whole thing, right?
Now I know, man.
Right. Listen, I got 2 kids. They're past that age, but been there, done that. But he had a rough game. And our duds are not players we hate. They're just players who have bad games, and he had a bad game, and I think he'll get back on track. And I'm gonna kind of play off that, because my dud is I think also part of the reason that he struggled, and that is long snapper Bo Brinkley. Did you know there was a man named Bo Brinkley on the Cardinals roster, Mike?
Freaking clue.
Most fans don't.
Yeah, I did know that that he got hurt. What's his name? The guy
Aaron Brewer.
He originally got hurt, and like with the arm issue or something like that. And I was like,
Something,
oh, man, they're gonna bring somebody in, but I didn't even think to be like, oh, he's gonna do long. I don't care.
Yeah. So I mean, we know Aaron Brewer because he's been long snapper forever, but so Bo Brinkley is his name. I did have to look that up. And I think he may have had, having that new long snapper, and someone commented on it, one of my videos, saying something about the laces were in on one of the steps. I don't know. But that I'm just gonna give it to him because I think by association he had to have something to do with it. So let me say hey to the other folks in the chat, and if you got questions or comments, please get them in the chat, and we'll hit them over for the next 15 minutes. Alucard, thank you for being here. 8 wins in Seattle. Yeah, Cardinals 8 wins in Seattle. Yeah, Cliff may get coached. I'm telling you, I think he is the leader in the clubhouse for that. I was watching, something, everyone's favorite PFF. I know people like to hate on PFF, and that's fine. But I was watching just a quick PFF kind of, video on YouTube, and a couple of the guys there that are always doing videos there, and they talked about that. And the one guy, Sam Monson's like, no, Cliff Kingsbury is the guy. Like, he's the leader for this award. I mean, with what they've done. And I mean, it's hard at this point with the way things have played out now, this deep into the season, to see anyone who I think deserves it more.
Yeah.
Early in the season, there were guys you could argue for. I just don't think there's another coach who at this point you can still make that argument for.
Right. No, I agree. And I think it also has to kind of do with, how the season ended last year. And a lot of people pretty much wrote him off, me included as well. And a lot of fans were like, oh, no, what's going on here? He's not able to control the team. And he really won freaking 80, man. He did a fantastic job. And he's still doing a very, very good job right now. So he's got to be a shoo-in, man. What, 8-8 last year? And now we're 9-2 with 6 games left. Oh, my goodness, man. Amazing.
Yeah. And I think more than the record, I mean, at least as important the record is the way they've gotten there, because because they've won some games that, like the narrative was Cliff Kingsbury wins because he says, Kyler, go do stuff. And right. Kyler, his game plan is watch Kyler do stuff, right? Make stuff happen. And then we see the games with Kyler out, right? And we see that they win 2 of those 3 games. Yeah, the Carolina game was rough. Those 3 early turnovers, right? But it's just the way he's done it, and the game plan, and the things he's done, running the ball when they're ahead that he didn't used to do, spreading the ball. He's not just throwing it to Hopkins all the time, and Kyler's taking a step forward and becoming a better passer, not just running around like crazy all the time, but actually being a good passer.
Yeah,
I think there's just a lot of things that he's answered a lot of questions. So I absolutely agree. Let's see. I know Leonard was asking, when was the last time Cardinals won a championship? Well, it was prior to the NFL. They won one as the Chicago Cardinals. I forget what year. It's like in the 40s or 50s.
Yeah.
So they have
before
not won
Arizona.
Before the NFL.
Yeah.
Before the Super Bowl, I should say.
Yeah.
Right before the Super Bowl era. So. And here he's Alucard saying Cards had at least 2 national titles before the merger. I believe I think it was, was it the 1800s? I don't know. But anyway, it's very early 1900s, I think. All right. So Polar Bear is a little worried about Kyler's health and playoff experience. How do you feel about that? I mean, do you feel like, okay, look, I mean, it's all but certain the Cardinals are going to make the playoffs.
Right.
And Kyler's going to get the rest of the bye to get healed up. And, if he's not ready to go coming out of the bye, they'll start Colt again against the Bears and, like their chances. But assuming he gets to the, playoffs, and is ready to go, how do you feel about that?
The concern, the health concern is a concern. It is, especially because the last 2 years as well, he was hurt. And obviously that was a little later towards the season, but who knows? He might have been hurt in the middle, and they probably maybe are trying to learn from it now because of what happened. Like, we started off 7-0, now we're 9-2, so we can afford to have our starting quarterback, rest up the weeks that he needs to. But yeah, it is a little concerning. But I mean, I don't think it's going to change. Kyler Murray is going to be a franchise quarterback for the Arizona Cardinals. Like, that's just the truth of the matter. That's the proof of the pudding there. But it's concerning. It is. In terms of like playoff experience, like the lack of, I mean, I don't know. I feel like we have a good amount of veterans with J.J. Watt, A.J. Green, although he hasn't been very much of the playoffs. DeAndre Hopkins as well. But I mean, I feel like we have a really good veteran presence that I think will be fine when it comes down to it. But the health concern does concern me a little bit.
Yeah, I mean that would worry me more than the playoffs
Yeah.
experience thing. He just, I mean, you know, uh, Tom Brady didn't have playoff experience when he had his run to his first Super Bowl.
True.
And Pat Mahomes, won one young. So, and Kyler, I think has that kind of mental toughness, but the health, he needs to be healthy for them to do that though. So, I would agree with you there. So let's see. Got to get some of the comments. Okay, who is our biggest rival? Who do you think is our biggest rival?
I think we kind of touched on this a little bit, like maybe on another stream. When I think of rivals, I think of somebody in our division.
Yeah.
I know I saw somebody say Panthers, and somebody else said like Cowboys is everybody's rival. But in my personal opinion, I don't know. I always felt like now thinking about it, I think the Rams right now, because obviously the 8-0 was a huge stigma on like, oh, we're never going to be able to beat Sean McVay, and we did it this year. And I just want to see it again. So as of right now, I got to keep it in our division. I got to say Rams.
Yeah, I think that's looking to be, and I think when we talked about this before, I said that a rivalry needs to be two ways, and up to this year, the Cardinals hadn't earned the right to call anyone a rival. But with it being, I think it's becoming a rivalry, and it has the potential to be a rivalry. The top two teams in the NFC West playing for that, those playoff spots or the division, and proximity. Southern California, Phoenix. So I think that's probably a good guess. Mark Jackson say 1948 last championship. Gary Shaw saying we still aren't getting the respect our team and record deserves in the national media. I do tend to agree with that. I don't like to be that guy. Oh, no one believes in us. I mean, I get why fans like to say that. And
yeah.
This team, up until this year, this team didn't give people a reason to believe in us.
Yeah.
But I will say it feels like, as much as as I hate to say, it's like it does feel like just a lot of folks in national media are either looking for an excuse not to believe in the Cardinals, they can't bring themselves to believe in it, or they're at best like saying, I can't believe it, but I guess they're the best team. They're almost like just begrudgingly or shocked, and they're like almost like, why, I hate to admit this, but they are. And it's but you don't see a lot of people come out and say this team has been the best team all year and they are the best team. I think we're going to see a little more of that in the coming weeks, especially if they keep winning. And I do think this game in Seattle really helped with that. But yeah, I don't know. What do you think about the no respect thing, Mike?
Honestly, in the beginning, I kind of felt a little bit like, on my soapbox. Now I can care less. Honestly, I don't really watch national media at all, to be honest with you. It helps me out, especially when we lose. I don't want to hear it. It's all they're just flip floppers, man. They ride high off of storylines, and it is what it is. I don't care.
Yeah, that's true. Those narratives drive a lot of things, right? Cowboys is my main rival for the Cards. That used to be in the same division.
Yeah.
And I remember the days when, Cowboys would come here and there'd be more Cowboys fans than Cardinals fans. And I hate the Cowboys too. And I know that before the Cardinals were in Phoenix or in Arizona, the Cowboys games would be on TV all the time. They were kind of the regional team. So I think there are a lot of Cowboys fans, longtime Cowboys fans there. But, I always say I have two favorite teams, the Cardinals and whoever's playing the Cowboys.
Nice.
So nice. Yeah. Okay. Ella15 says, I don't think we have to win one more game. We're 4-0 the division, only have the Rams Hawks both at home on top of. Okay, so this is kind of this question of how many more games do the Cardinals need to make the playoffs? And this on my stream last night we talked about this. So Mike, how many more wins do you think the Cardinals need to get into the playoffs?
I think at least 2 more.
You think 2?
Yeah, at least 2. I think 11, maybe 12 wins could definitely get us in there for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, I think there's a chance that 10 wins gets into the playoffs. So maybe one, but obviously, I mean, I think the Cardinals are going to win more than 10 or 11. But I think two more wins is safe, makes it safe. One more win possibly, but obviously we don't want to settle for one or two more wins. So
Right.
Mike, I know you've had a tough day, so I'm going to probably let you get out of here early, and I imagine your wife and child both will appreciate that.
Appreciate it, man.
But thanks for being here. I know it's been a tough day for you, but I appreciate you making some time for us. We're gonna be off next week because of the bye, so we'll be together in 2 weeks. Mike, have a good night, and I'll hang out with the crew for just a little bit longer.
All right, cool, man. Peace out. Later, guys.
All right, take care. All right, everyone, we're gonna let Mike get going. He's, like I said, he has a fussy baby tonight, so we're gonna understand this. But I'll hang out for a few more minutes. You have questions or comments y'all want to talk about? Okay, so you asked you meant to win the division. So that's a good question. So let me look at like where the standings are. I've got the ESPN up here right now. Look at the Cardinals. So the Cardinals are at 9-2, and Los Angeles is at 7-3. So we got a two game. Although we're going to go on a bye, so we'll see what happens with them. I think to win the division, it's going to take. I mean, let's see. The Rams have Packers, Jaguars. Jaguars should be a win for them. They're playing the Cardinals again. That's going to be a tough game. Then they have the Seahawks, the Vikings, and the Ravens. So they've got some tough games aside from the Jaguars. And Seattle might not be tough. So, I think they're 7, 8, 9. Yeah, I mean, obviously part of that, what matters is, do we win the game against the Rams? If we win the Rams game, I think that might be enough, because I think that game and maybe one more. So yeah, I mean, looking at it, the Rams 7, let's see, 8, 9, and they've got the Niners. I mean, the Rams are starting to look like a 10 or 11 win team. So I think I'm going to say, to play it safe, I think 2 more wins will do it to win the division if one of those wins is the Rams. If we lose to the Rams, we might need 3 more wins to take the division. That's my best guess. But, we'll see, right? Let's see. Let me get to questions or comments. And if I missed a question, I apologize. If the Rams keep playing like they played versus the Titans, Rams, we just need 5 more wins. Rams, well, or we don't need any more wins, right? If they keep playing like that, right? Because they lost against the Titans, right? But yeah, let's see. And Best String is going down for the Monday Night Football game. Awesome. Enjoy that. Jealous. Let's see. I'm the only one that's surprised that Zavins didn't play at all. I'm a little surprised. Now, he played on special teams. So he did play on special teams, but he didn't play regular. I am surprised too. Here's the thing. Like, he's played well when he's been on the field. He's graded really well per PFF. So the fact that he's not playing is really kind of a little bewildering to me. I mean, I get it if he wasn't playing well. So we talked about this a little bit last night in terms of the why they're playing Jordan Hicks over him, and there's some reason, but I think someone commented in the stream last night that he doesn't trust Vance Joseph doesn't trust rookies, so maybe he's getting the Isaiah Simmons treatment. He's going to play some this year, and next year he's going to play more. JP is asking, is it his shoulder? Maybe, but they did play him on special teams, so I don't know. That's kind of a tough one. So I don't know. The Carolina Crown says, we already won the division. We sweep 49ers. They lost to them. We beat both the Seahawks and teams. I still think, like, mathematically, if the Cardinals lose some more games and if the Rams finish with a better record, right? But they kind of have to finish with a better record because I think we already have the better divisional record at this point. with having swept the night. Yeah, we won 4 divisional games already. So yeah, but they're mathematically they could still have more wins if the Cardinals went on losing streak. So it's not, we haven't won it yet, but I think, the Cardinals are the overwhelming favorite to win it, and I think they will. I think there was a comment here that I wanted to get to. MGO asking, why do we play bad at home? I don't think there is a particular the Cardinals are bad at home thing that's like about something about the team in particular. I think you have to look at the particular games. Okay. The first, or when we're talking about, is mainly the Cardinals losses, right, at home. So in fact, look at, okay, they played against the Vikings. That was a rough game, but the Vikings are a better team than people think. And, they ran the ball well against us. 49ers, that was a tough game. Texans blew them out. The Packers, so the Packers game, that was a Thursday game against a good team that we almost won, but lost in a close game. And they, and it was against a good, I don't know. And then you have the Carolina game, but that again, no Kyler. Maybe I'm wrong, but I don't think there's something about this team in terms of their makeup that just makes them play worse at home. I just think it's just been that's just how the games have fallen. I know, we'll see though. They've got some more games at home. We'll see if they play poorly in all the remaining home games. Maybe I'm wrong, right? But I think it's too small of a sample size to really say that there's something there. But I don't know. They have certainly played well on the road, though. That's for sure. Let's see. I feel like we've always played better way though. Like our NFC Championship run, we were better on the road there. Yeah, maybe. Of course, I think that we had to play on the road a lot for that, if I remember correctly. But yeah, I don't know. Mark Jackson, he said his piece last night, I'm all in on this team. Yeah, I'm with you. I'm excited about this team. I think this team is they've shown me so much. I know you feel the same way this year in terms of the kinds of wins they've had, in tough games and tough situations. So I think this team is to me the best Cardinals team I've seen in my time as a fan, and I'm real excited to see what happens. So I think we've gone a little over 30 minutes, and let me just throw a couple quick shout outs out there. First of all, let me thank all the channel members that's helped support the channel. Really appreciate that. I got a couple of them in the chat today. Thank you all for being here. So wanted to throw that shout out there. And also, as always, I want to mention, if you aren't a part of the Discord, consider joining the Discord. There's a link below. There's like 70 something folks in there, and it's always a good crew, especially on game days. We have a game day chat that a bunch of us are in. So consider joining that. I post news in there. Other people like Red Sea and JP are always posting news in there. It's a good group. So yes, I just wish we had a better run D. I do too. Polar Bear, I think not many teams are, perfect in all facets, and that is the Cardinals' Achilles heel. But, well, I think we're going to go ahead and wrap it up, but I appreciate everyone being here for Cardinals Aftermath, and everyone send us some thoughts out for Mike with his young baby at home, and so I'm sure he's having a rough night, but appreciate him making time. Discord is where it's at. So fun during the game, 100%, and Mark isn't making that up. It's really a great time, and really enjoy the group that's in there. So, well, guys, it's Victory Monday. It's a good week. I hope everyone has a wonderful Thanksgiving with your families or whoever you spend your holidays with, and I look forward to seeing you all in a couple weeks. We'll be off this next weekend because of the bye week, but thank you all for being here, and we will see you next time. Everyone have a great night.